Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show.
Party, and this is the lobster party.
There is actually many parties better than a lobster party. But anyway, this is Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific for about an hour or 90 minutes each day. We do 3 gun-related topics, different topics throughout the week. Let's see, we run it live on YouTube. We simulcast it over at gunchannels.com. We're watching the live chat. Everybody that's participating in the show live over there on Gun Channels, also on YouTube. Now, when it's all over, we'll let the video render into, let it render into a video over on YouTube, and we'll take the audio from that and post that as a podcast on iTunes. So we hope everybody that watches the show live and anybody that listens to it in the future will do us a favor and subscribe to the channel, leave us some comments. That activity on the various platforms that you listen to the show on does 2 things. It lets us know where you are, and it's always good to know where our audience is and see that it's growing. And then it'll help get the show recommended to more listeners, and that is one of our goals. So we do appreciate that favor. That's why we talk about it at the beginning of every single show. We have a bunch of hosts. 4 of us are here at the moment. We've got, let's see, we're going to go. Z is jumping in from the island of Maui.
Aloha.
It is embedded, Dano. So refresh. You were in there before I embedded it is all.
Oh, my bad.
Then we got Dano jumping in from Illinois, trying to re-embed everything here.
Hey, I'm in bed now.
Smeggy jumping in from Michigan.
Hey, how's everyone doing today?
Pretty good. Better than your voice. You sick or you just
I'm just rolling out of bed.
No, I don't know, man. You know me. I've been stuffed up for the past month, and I guess
the snow is very depressing for the poor guy. Snow, it's bringing him down. Needs to stop fucking snowing.
It's sad when a snowman catches a cold. And then I'm down here in Arizona. So we got Bob out there in Vegas. Hopefully he's going to jump in because this is our 1-year anniversary. This is 260th show. That way, if we've done the math correctly, that is 52 weeks of doing the Daily Gun Show every single day on every single weekday. I think we might have missed a show or 2, but not any more than that. And maybe we're a few times, but pretty much a year right now.
If he doesn't at least make an attempt, it says something about the relationship that is foundational, I think.
Hey, don't be clingy. Don't be clingy.
From what I hear about relationships.
Yeah, like I said, don't be clingy. Don't be that guy.
Anyhow, this is our year
anniversary. He just has to sow his wild Canadian oats. It's okay.
Yeah, let the man be if he's got to be. He's got to be free.
So that's enough about Bob. This is about our 1-year anniversary. So we want to thank everybody who's been participating in the live lobby. I think we've had people probably out there since the beginning. That means you've been putting in just as much time as we have. But that's what it's all about. So we want to thank everybody over at Gun Channels, where we pay most of our attention. And then, of course, we'll give some thanks to YouTube for making all this possible. As much crap as we give the giant corporations and capitalists and people that snoop around on the internet, people that use your data to make a bunch of money off you, they are giving something in return at least, and that's the platform that we're able to do the show on. So I like to think that over the last year we've had done some positive things, and we did that with their tech. So thanks Google, thanks YouTube. But mainly thank the human beings that are listening on the other end of this, and thanks to the human beings that participate in what we're doing by commenting, by participating over on Gun Channels and the different projects we've done, and really cool. And I don't know if Bob and I, when we sat down and started doing this, we kind of, you assume that you're going to do it for the long term, but it's definitely neat to look at it after a year. So we would not be doing it if there was not anybody listening. So again, we want to thank everybody who tunes in. Both on all the platforms, right? On Gun Channels, mainly, because that's the best platform. Then YouTube, because it's necessary for this to work, and people are okay, I guess. And then iTunes, which I think we get probably the most listeners over there, but the least interactivity. And I expect that has something to do with when you download your iTunes and you're out doing your work or whatever you're doing. It's not necessarily the first thing on your mind when you get back to a computer to log into iTunes and leave us a comment. But we do appreciate you as listeners nonetheless, because what we're really trying to do is get conversations starting about Second Amendment stuff, the guns and whatnot. And if we're out there in your ear, I'm assuming that some of that has started some conversations out there, and that's everybody's goal. So we're all winning here. With all that said, we are in episode 260, which means it's a Friday, and that means we're going to be talking about alternative gun topics, whether and how many guns you actually need. Then we'll talk about the gun business. Will it expand or shrink in the next 4 years, I guess, under Trump here? Then we wrap up the week and talk about gun deals. First, we have our daily stuff, the gun shop of the day, the gun of the day, etc., etc. And before we dig into all that, we usually take a break at the beginning like this to see if anything happened overnight, anything we're talking about.
Well, wasn't yesterday Every Second Matters and also the AK-47 Guru chat? And I mean, like, there was stuff that happened.
Yeah, definitely it was. Every Second Matters chat. I think we got a decent framework put together over there on the website, the everysecondmatters.com, as far as state bills and laws go. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go over there, check it out, and add some stuff to your state. The way I said it last night was we have to have listeners in at least one of each state. So, you probably know better than some other people what's going on specifically in your state. So go add a bill that's going up for vote or something that passed, and then, track it along and put updates. And the more people use it, I think the more people will use it. Like it will get better and better, and then people will use it even more because they see how good it is.
I wanted to say, or thank, I should say, on Instagram. I noticed, I think it used to be 2016 Matters, but now it's the 2017 Matters. And he was posting a couple of things about Every Second Matters and showing patches and stuff like that. So, I don't necessarily know if that's truly audience participation, but it's participation in Every Second Matters nonetheless. And it just shows that it's spreading in a good way.
You make it sound like a disease. It's spreading.
In a good way, he said.
Oh.
So it's one of those diseases that feels good when you itch it.
Like happiness.
So we're talking about Every Second Matters. Everysecondmatters.com is the website. And Smeggy was talking about the state thing that we wanted to add. So Smeggy and I went through and created a place for the states. So if you go to Every Second Matters, click on the menu at the top under State 2A Issues. You'll see there's basically a representation here for each state. And then when you dig into one, I think Smeggy had posted some stuff under, Arizona. Let me go back to Arizona. And when you get in there, you can post all kinds of things, photos, discussions, events, just like we have over on gun channels or any social media platform you might go to. But then this way, like we've been talking, the state level groups or state level initiatives can be posted here. People can reply to them and have threads, and hopefully it's powerful enough to be useful, and hopefully not so complicated that it becomes a nuisance or anything. Hopefully it aids in the overall dissemination of knowledge out there. So like Smeggy said, we can build it, but we cannot, there's just not possible for us to put in all the possible information that's out there. So having some people jump in and can collaborate and contribute to it will definitely make it work. And I can see from just the post on the main page here that people have been already starting to do that. So thanks everybody who's doing that. All right, so then we digging in the show?
I think so.
It's also the first of the month, so we did the Patreon stuff. I think we did the random patch Patreon person yesterday or the other day here.
Yes, and it was almost Smeggy.
It was.
Until
somebody picked the wrong direction.
Yep. See, that's how they know it's not rigged, though, Smegs. Come on. Because if I would have picked the other way, then they'd be like, "Oh, it was rigged because he picked Smeggy to win." So
that's okay. I did get a package from
as I say,
your websites and
big payoff package he gets in the mail.
So well, then it's all good.
Well, to be fair, I did win those auctions on eBay. I won the chance to send money.
Sure, you paid, but it's still a payoff somewhere, some way.
So does that mean there was a trigger in the mail?
Jesus Christ, dude! How are you gonna throw me in the bus like that?
Nobody even knows he was talking to you necessarily until you gave it away, dude. He could have just looked and
Everyone
appeared to
knows
be
he's
a.
talking about me.
Now, Smeggy, how easy would it be for Dano to appear senile in mentioning that? Come on. Like, that would be no problem to pass it off like that.
I'll remember
It's
that
out
next
of
time.
what you're
Paul's
talking
making my
about.
ability.
See? All right, but what are we going on? The
Anyway.
alternate gun topics. Alt gun topics. Now, I don't know who wrote this phrase in there, but I'm going to go that it's an opinion because they wrote, you don't need a lot of guns.
Yeah, this is a topic we've done before over the last year that we've been doing the show, probably twice already, and then we're going to continue to do it because I'm downsizing. I have lived a life of having no guns when I was a kid, I guess, or a few guns, I guess. I never lived with no guns, but had few guns, and then had a few guns when I was going to school and stuff, and then I went crazy with them. So I think I've lived a pretty good life with both having a lot of them and then having some amount more than most people, and then having a normal amount, and then having fewer than normal people. So in my experience over the years, and obviously everybody's different, there are some core things that I think every citizen should own, for damn sure. But I like the idea of every once in a while thinking about capping it off and appreciating not quantity, but the ones you have.
Yeah, I mean, you only have so much time and money and resources to enjoy the things you enjoy in life. And the more you spread that out, the less time you have to enjoy the things that actually matter to you.
Mm-hmm.
Spoken like a true poor person. What kind of attitude is that?
I mean, whether it's taking care of Grandpa's old gun that was passed down to you, or whether it's enjoying that firearm that you've always wanted that you got last year, and now you spend every other weekend out at the range enjoying it. That's what I mean. And I don't know how that relates to being a poor person.
Well, I can say that I have never had the experience of having a lot of guns, so I'm still in building my collection mode. I've never sold anything off or anything, but I think I'm just now getting to the point because I have some stuff that kind of overlaps with other things. I never used to have this before. When I'm going to go to the range, it's like, do I take this one or that one? I used to just grab everything because I only had 3 or 4. It's like, especially if, like going up north or something, got my handguns, I got my rifles, and I'd bring everything and bring a little bit of ammo for everything. Where now I'm like, I don't think I'm even gonna bother bringing my 30-06 or whatever. Like, I'm not gonna have time to shoot it. So that's kind of a weird thing for me.
I can agree with you because I'm somewhat in a very similar situation. Never really had a lot of guns, but let's be honest though, the term "a lot" is subjective. According to the federal government, sometimes they're trying to tell you that a lot is like 10 or less, sometimes, or 10 or more, I should say. Whereas some people will tell you that's not even barely the beginning of a collection. I will agree with Smeggy in that sometimes having to pick your favorite child, which child is your favorite, sometimes can be difficult because it's a time management issue. You literally are only going to have so much time at the range, and what are you going to want to be doing with your time at the range? I would say that, also the term need to me in this statement is subjective. So there's a couple of things that are the variables in this actual statement here of you don't need a lot of guns. Is that like saying you don't need 30 rounds in a magazine? Is that you don't need to be able to carry concealed on your person? Like, is it something to that effect where we have this don't need in there?
I think I want to put it more in a positive light of basically saying, like, you don't need a lot to still be able to enjoy them or something. Like, as long as you have, I guess, a couple or something to fill certain roles. Now, I'm certainly not going to discourage people from having tons because that's definitely my goal in life. I just am going slow.
Well,
I think it pivots on the need is determined by the individual. rather than by any outside source.
Well, and I would also like to add that our first subject of today of you don't need a lot of guns will have a direct effect on our second subject of the day today. So I do like having what I have, kind of like what Smegs was talking about earlier. I definitely am, I'll be honest in saying that there's definitely more that I would like to have, and I'm sure that at some point there will be more. I don't always have a lot of time to be able to take stuff to the range, and that's on me, whether take the time or make the time. That's my fault, or that's my doing, whichever way you really want to look at it. Now,
well, it's half your state screwing you over too, though, because it's not like you can just go on a Wednesday, go to the range, right? You only get to go at a certain time.
If it literally was open in the afternoon after work, during the week, yeah, there'd be more ammo sales. I'll be honest with you on that.
But quantity is just one aspect of it versus.
So can we alter this, or not even alter this? Can we expand on this topic where it says you don't need a lot of guns? Can I throw out the term, do you need a revolver? And I just wanted to ask the panel, yes or no? And so I'm going to start with okay, so you say no, Mr. Smeggy. Mr. Dano?
No.
Mr. G. Webbs?
It's an impossible question, so you have to say no, because it's too specific is all.
Well, then I'm going to say yes, because yes, you do need a revolver in your collection.
I mean, unless we come up with a generic person, we really can't answer it.
I'm going to say, though, a small handgun, yes. A medium-sized handgun, yes. To answer that kind of question, I think a little easier.
Sure.
What about some type of hunting rifle?
No.
As far as need, you're saying, correct? I would also say.
I'm actually phrasing it from the position that the state would allow you to have, but I guess that might be unpopular in here. So I'm going to say, no, you just don't need it for actual defense of the self, family, community.
Well, I'm going to go with yes, you do need it.
Especially if you're going hunting.
Yeah, because, in Michigan, we have a very large deer population. So,
whatever. You're not going to be eaten by deer. You're not going to be taken over by deer. So.
You know how many deer car crashes there are a year? It's huge.
All right. Well, I guess
a bunch of people.
What you call need. You think it's easier to go get them than to trap them or something, I guess, then sure. But if you enjoy shooting them, great. But if we're just talking to the generic person who doesn't live in upper Michigan with a bunch of deer zombies running around, then need a bolt action? Nah.
He didn't say bolt action. He said hunting rifle. There's a difference.
I thought you said bolt action hunting rifle.
Oh, well, I thought I heard just.
I don't remember. I think I just said hunting rifle, but I was picturing my bolt action because that was
okay.
That was one of the boxes I needed to check.
So I'm going to say, we have the question there. You don't need a lot of guns. I'm going to want to. They were talking about it in the chat there. When did I close? Okay, there. They were talking about it in the chat there. One of the reasons I guess I want to keep bringing this one up is because I do have more guns than most people, and not bragging, I just have accumulated them. I'm not necessarily proud of it. It's annoying at times, and I don't want to put the perception out there when I show off my jump guns or my revolvers or something that I have, because I'm in a situation where I can play with them and I can kind of justify having them because I get to play with them on the internet and people enjoy that. I think that's a little bit unique. Now, if you had other, obviously you can have your own justification, your own reason to own things, but I just don't want to make it seem as though I'm making that so alluring that it's that's some sort of a goal, or that's necessarily a goal I had at one point. I was able through, having jobs in the past to be able to afford to do that. But it is artificial. I don't have a lot of other financial obligations. I'm in debt. So I don't want people to think that accumulating tons of guns is somehow worthy in itself. I mean, obviously I've done it, so I'm not going to say it's not worthy. And there's plenty of reasons to own them. I just want to make sure that when putting that caveat out there, it's one of the reasons I'm including this segment of the show. But if we're talking what you need, I consider, again, I think I mentioned it earlier, there are some guns that you need. I'm going to stop short of saying there should be a requirement. I know some states, some local areas at least, put requirements that people do own firearms. I'm never going to go that far. But if you want to be a responsible citizen, so responsible for yourself and for your immediate family, and then your community, and then your state, and by state I mean your state, not the federal government, but at some point the federal government as well, then I think there are some things that you might want to burden yourself with as an obligation to your country and yourself. And in those respects, I wouldn't put a hunting rifle in there. I'm not even going to put a shotgun in there. Putting the medium-sized pistol, so like a Glock 19, and then an AR-15 is the two that I'm going to say everyone should need. Like, I think those, I personally think, my opinion is that everyone needs to have those two guns specifically. Everything above that is extra.
I can't believe what I heard from the AK guru.
No, I like AKs, and I have AKs and my AR. But if it's time to grab guns and get business done, realistically, it's going to be the AR. It's compatible. It's modular. It's the reason it's the gun it is. So,
right.
It's America's gun. You're going to be able to find parts and ammunition pretty much all over the country. Just short of saying you can pick them up at the local convenience store. Just short of that.
But it's something that, just that this question, sometimes I look at it and I think about it, just in terms of myself, and I think in terms of what I have, and are some of my acquisitions still fit in the category of things I want to continue with, in my journey forward, or did it fill a role at one time that's now filled by something else better?
And that's, I guess, another look at it. I had the philosophy, I kind of, until recently, had the philosophy of Smeggy. I don't like to sell guns. I never did sell guns for the longest time. So if I got something and it wasn't exactly what I wanted, I would just get another one that was closer to what I wanted. Now I had two. And I don't think that's the only way to do it, for darn sure. I mean, I think it was probably a dumb way to do it, honestly. You end up having accumulated so much crap that you're not using that you could have turned that into the stuff you did want faster. And then it wouldn't be there physically in your way of the stuff that you did want and you upgraded to or whatever.
Yeah, because I have a couple that I'm actually thinking about, and I'm in no rush, but possibly thinking about letting loose, because I really have no desire to take them to the range. And that's my.
You go ahead. No, you finish, Dano.
Are you talking about the 9mm, Dano? Are you talking about your 9mm?
Is one of them, and then I'm kind of hemming and hawing. The shotgun is kind of for sure, but I haven't done anything with it. And the other one, which I keep going back and forth on, because I don't have an urge to take it to the range, but that's because of something else. But it is kind of unique, and that's my underfolder, because it kind of represents a unique category for me anyway. But that's because I have another AK that I do enjoy taking to the range. So,
and G, I wanted to ask you, according to, as we're talking about this topic here, do you feel that the 2 is 1, 1 is none theory applies to this, sort of? Like you would say you would have 2 ARs and then 2 Glock 19s per se?
Kind of.
As far as need goes?
Yeah, when I say a Glock 19, I mean at least 2 per person. And when I say an AR, I mean at least 2 per person. So probably 3 for your first, if you're just you, 3 Glocks, and then 2 ARs. Wow. And then if you got 5 or 2 people, maybe 5 Glocks will do. But yeah, you want to be able to New York reload, and then if it's just you, then why not have some extra parts or a double New York reload? New York reload.
I kind of want to put it to you like this: instead of a Glock, would you at least and this is probably not. I think I know the answer anyway. So 1911 would not be the replacement for the 19.
Well, hell no.
Okay. I was just saying for parts and modularity and all over the country.
Kind of New York reload. Just pulling one gun out and start firing it.
I guess I should specify too, when I'm saying Glock 19, I mean Gen 3 Glock 19. Go get an old one and get 3 of them. So, so you've got basically the stuff that works, and it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg, and it works. And then everything else you buy, go on top of that. So put that stuff in somewhere it's easy accessible, and then that's like your go-to. You got that.
All right. So I want to I'm asking you a question about me. All right. So this is not a scenario. This is just straight across. So as you know, I don't have a 19. I have a 30S. Would you suggest getting another 30S, the 41, or scrapping that and literally going down to 9mm? Because I do live in a 10-round state. So
No, not for that. When I say Glock 19, I mean if you're starting from a kit and you're just
from
starting
from scratch. I gotcha.
Once you're starting from scratch, that's a good place to start from. But then immediately go to a 45. Why would you stick with 9mm? Once you've got it accomplished, get a couple of thousand rounds for each gun, and then put that in a closet, and then go enjoy 45 ACP or 40 or something decent. But no, for you, I mean, and then I'm not trying to offer advice. I'm just trying to say, as far as you don't need a lot of guns, I'm just trying to say, I think a person needs to have a working pistol in a couple of them and a working rifle in a couple of them. And I go with AR-15 and a Glock. But if you're going with a different caliber Glock, then yeah, you're in a decent platform that you basically got lots of parts for. As soon as you go off the median, which is what the cops use, then you're talking, you might as well get a CZ. So if it's like my Glock 41 isn't necessarily all that practical anymore because it's the larger frame. So immediately it doesn't work with any of the 17 internals. And it's a 45 upper, so it's immediately not going to work with 9mm crap. So, you know, it's not really an efficient gun. But I'm not where I need to only have that one. I'm saying if you've got only one, go with whatever your local law enforcement is using. So I think it's a Glock 19, but what if your local law enforcement's using a freaking something else? Then get a freaking something else, perhaps, or something that's, you know.
I think ours out here is using 40 cal, so that would be a thought as well, I guess.
But I think a lot of people will buy their first gun based on whatever, and then they just started buying targets of opportunity. And that, there's nothing wrong with that. You just do it. I mean, it's whatever's cheap. Some friend has it. You got a couple of bucks. It's in front of you. I don't care. I mean, trust me.
And you remember how it used to be, dude? It was like we saw it in a magazine, and it looked pretty. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, I want one of those. So then when you come across it, you're like, oh, well, I've counted all my cans. I've added up all my nickels and pennies, and I got enough. Yes, I want it. Thank you. Here, take my money.
Or those times when you're at the shop and, I don't know, whatever, you happen to have like half of what you thought you'd need to get to something, and then out of nowhere, this thing that you never thought you could afford, an HK is used in front of you or something. So I understand what it's like, but I'm just saying when that happens, when you're getting these things sort of just happenstance random, you end up with a collection that's that way too. So when you think about, I don't need a lot of guns, one way you can think about it is, okay, I've seen people with lots of quantity, collections with great quantity, and I just want to reiterate, I'm trying to put the thing out there that it's not all quantity. It's who cares if you got a dozen of them if they're going to clink together and you can't appreciate any of them. So if you consider the concept of you don't need a lot of guns and you go, all right, I'd like to get a 1911, I can tell you, here's one of the reasons I don't got a 1911, because at this point, I definitely don't need another gun. I definitely don't need another 45. So if I get a 1911, it's going to be one that's ideally been through both World War I and World War II. And since I can't afford to just go shop for one, I'm waiting for that one to come to me, right? To find it at a shop or have a friend who can get me it for a deal or something. But you know what I mean? For me, that's a gun I'd rather have than just another 1911. Now I have had 1911s just because I needed a 1911 and I had the money for it. But I'm saying if you go with that philosophy, if you don't need a lot, then you might be, I guess, a little more rational about saving up for waiting for those opportunities for the one you want and not one like the one you want. Because I really think you cripple yourself. I can tell you, I'm not trying to brag or nothing. I own more broken guns than most people own guns, right? I buy broke guns all the time. I think it's neat, especially when I had money. And it's pointless because at the time I had money and I didn't think about it. You know, paying $50, $25, $20 for a gun doesn't seem like a big deal. And everybody's money's worth, you know, different stuff to everybody. But some people are out there buying $200 guns because they can and they can afford it. Their wife lets them or whatever. And what you end up not doing is buying that $1,500 gun that you kind of want, or that $2,000 gun that you really want. You know, you're crippling yourself by, say, cuts. You know, just putting yourself out by buying it. And you don't get any.
That's what I was talking about earlier in regards to quality over quantity.
Right. But I mean, with the concept up front of like, I don't need to have 15 1911 so that I can prove to myself that this one is the one I want. You can, at this point, you can kind of go, okay, I got my 19 so I can do my business. And then I can save up for that XYZ brand 1911 that I really want. And then you don't have to have wasted all that time in the process on those $300 ones, $500 ones. I don't know if we beat that one to death.
Well, I think we're going to come back to that one, but yeah, I think we did pretty good. I mean, we all kind of voiced our opinions on whether you do or don't need a lot of guns, and then we also kind of discussed what a lot of guns is, and we then also discussed what it is that you do kind of need. So
I don't know how to take the action of no comments coming in on either side. I think we just either dumbfounded everybody or they got mad and left, and they just didn't even bother turning off their computers. They just
for a little while there was a caliber discussion, but then that kind of died down.
Well, and on the other, and the YouTube side, it was if you don't have it, you will need it. So I mean, and then there was a couple of comments here and there, but yeah, I hear you.
All right, so we'll move on to the next one, which will be the gun biz. Now we'll talk about, will the gun business expand or shrink in the next 4 years? But before we do, we always like to take a break between the first and second segment of the show each day to feature one of the members over at Gun Channels, which is a place we built a while back. It's a community focused on firearms, completely membership driven. You won't see a bunch of ads. You won't see a bunch of schemes. You can basically join and with an email address. We're not going to sell that. We don't harvest the info for anybody. It's a bunch of moderators that run the place. Nobody's getting paid. If you want to help support it, you can. $12 a year, so $1 a month. You can buy a patch if you want. And that's what keeps the place running is members that use the place, throw a couple of bucks in, and it's a community. It's a platform for us to enjoy talking about firearms regularly. With that in mind, we like to feature one of the members over there. And today it's Heavy B. So this week we've been featuring members that do shows on the regular, and Heavy does a show every other week on Friday. What does he call it? The Heavy B channel is what he calls his channel.
Friday Night Sights.
Friday Night Sights. And he's a regular on a lot of the other shows. He hangs out and match chats a lot, where I hang out with him, and then I think he goes on your Hit or Miss show on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m.
He's also been in the early watch as well.
It's true. He's been hanging out in the earliers too. So he's helping me out with the project, and he's a good guy. So he's out in California, kind of behind enemy lines, so to speak. But he's Marine, so I'm not worried about him at all. He'll be one of the resistance back there, and it's also nice to get some intel from over there. We get the news from here, and it's easy to assume or judge or figure we know what's going on over there. But it's great to get insight from shooters over there, and there's very few of them actually that we get to talk to on the regular.
Yeah, Heavy's awesome.
Okay, great.
Yep.
So
Yep, I agree. Nice person in person as well.
And in addition to that, I mean, he also has a lot of experience. He's, in addition to being tripping over my words over a discussion we had the other day. I almost said ex-Marine, but I didn't say that.
He's more stubborn than it. He's more stubborn than me.
But he's also received an incredible amount of firearms training outside of that realm as well. So he has a lot of knowledge in regards to kind of contractor type stuff in terms of the training he has received. So he's a very knowledgeable guy. So great asset to have here.
I agree. And Smeggy and I got to shoot his guns, which was interesting. Shooting California guns in California was definitely an experience, and something I think 10-round magazines out of an AR-15. It's not only a stupid idea, stupid concept, but it's actually difficult to deal with because the dang magazine barely sticks out of the well. So it's actually very tedious to manipulate the dang magazine out of there, even with the bullet and Breton depressed or whatever. So I guess it's not even an option for him anymore, but that's one of those things that I had only ever thought about. I never actually had to deal with, and it was definitely an interesting experience. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and that's I was going to mention the bullet button thing. I can't imagine of ever having a time to, use a bullet button, and yeah, it was interesting, and it was kind of a pain. And I guess I've heard that like maybe he didn't quite have it set up exact right or whatever. But if you pushed in too far, the little tab on the other side would like rotate and then it wouldn't go back in, you know. So it's like you had to be conscious to push it in but not too far, and different, like, it's just all that little stuff that, you know, I never would have known about until I actually put my hands on it. It's like, wow, this does suck. Well, we'll see what they do in the future when, like you said, bullet button's not even a thing anymore. But they also haven't re-clarified, right? They like took it back like for reconsideration, and now they're like, well, you still need to register assault weapons, but we're not really going to clarify exactly what that means as far as bullet buttons go. So it's like, what the heck are you supposed to even do?
Oops, I was reading what Z posted in there. So I think what we were talking about going into next is the gun biz, and I think that's what Z posted about.
Yeah, I posted a link from the firearms blog first, and that's about Colt laying off custom shop employees and stuff like that. I found it on Facebook today, and the person that had shared it on Facebook actually wrote the next thing that I wrote: with the Trump slump, as it's being called, we're seeing more and more downsizing in the industry due to lagging sales across the board. Silencer Co. had a sizable layoff recently, and now Colt is also right-sizing due to a number of factors, including the current slump in sales. As the post-presidential election sales slump continues, we can expect to see a shakeout with the industry, within the industry, with companies that are heavy on inventory and light on cash. The good news is that we're experiencing a great buyer's market, so take advantage of those $40 AR-15 lowers while you can. Now, that's what the person commented on. The actual article itself just kind of talks about the people being laid off at the Colt Custom Shop in the article itself, which I think, yes, I linked on both YouTube and gun channels if anybody wanted to follow along.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, fine, I'll go ahead. So I do think that, yeah, it's interesting that, you know, maybe the gun companies ramped up like too much, you know, expect like with the anticipation of having a run on stuff or whatever. And it could be that they overextended, like you just mentioned, you know, they're light on cash but heavy on inventory, right? So they made a whole bunch of stuff and now they're like, oh crap, no one's buying it. I mean, I think there's still a market out there for things, just not as big. And part of me thinks that when the whole thing happened in, what was that, 12 or 13 or whatever, where people went nuts, the types of people that, you know, went ahead and bought an AR, like they've been thinking about it for 10 years or something, and then they decided, well, I might as well get one now. Well, those types of people weren't going to be repeat customers anyway. So like now that they have some of their stuff, they're probably just happy with, well, I got one or two and I don't need anymore. Right. So,
Need, or there's no rush.
Right. It might have been a false, you know, sense of demand or something. I mean, markets are complicated, obviously, but
Rifles are not a consumable item like ammunition is. You know, once you shoot it, you have to get another one.
right. Well, and yeah, and that's the other thing with the ammo, right? Because
Not according to that California senator, but I hear you.
there's a bunch of like small companies that popped up to start making ammo to fill that demand, and now that the demand has gone down a little bit, I mean, I think it's safe to say demand has gone down a little bit. So any of those ones that were,
Or what from when?
I'm going to say from like 13.
I would say from
Demand for ammo or for guns?
I mean, there was the pre-election sales that were going on because of the anticipation of Hillary winning. And then, of course, she didn't. And companies, you know, have to forecast. And they kind of thought what a lot of people did, that Hillary might indeed end up winning, overproduced. And then that leaves products sitting on the shelf that's not selling.
And I wouldn't say overproduced. They strategically stockpiled.
Well, it's well, you can, yeah, strategically stockpiled, but if you don't need it because you know, the future changed from what you thought it was going to be, then it just sits there.
No, that's not how that works. It's not.
The strategic wouldn't be the word, I guess. I used the wrong word, because if it was strategic, they would not be scurrying around. They would have had a plan for if he wins.
They depend on their inventory turning over at certain cycles. And when the cycles
I don't
get
know.
longer and longer, that's worse for them financially.
Are we talking about the gun business? We're not talking about AR manufacturers. So even if we are just talking
The
about
gun business and turnover of your products.
we're talking about the gun industry, not the AR manufacturers. But even if we are talking about AR manufacturers, do you seriously think that they're all in lockstep with their business strategies?
No, definitely not. No way.
Experience with 2013. They've had experience with the end of the assault weapons ban. They've had experience with the 80% come and go. They've had experience with the zombie trends or fads. You know, there must be multiple strategies. For us to sit here and say that they all overbuilt and then now they're suffering is ridiculous. I don't think we have any justification. There might be a company or two that had that happen to them.
It's not ridiculous. We're talking about what's been going on lately. And lately means like the last 6 months to a year. And what did we have happen in the last 6 months to a year? We had a major election in which guns were part of the discussion.
Okay, no one's denying any of that. You know, I'm suggesting that, do you seriously think that every arms manufacturer was convinced that Hillary was going to win, overproduced in preparation for that, and is now sitting there going dumbfounded, like, oh, we never could have anticipated Trump winning? I think that some of them figured that they'd do this and they'd do that if she won, and they'd do this if she lost. And that some of them built a lot, and some of them built a lot with a plan B.
Well, I agree with you on that. Definitely there are different strategies going on, but I guess I was just speaking specifically from the Colt thing where they said they're heavy on inventory and light on cash. That tells me that they chose to overextend a little bit, maybe even take on a little debt to have product, and now the demand that they forecasted is not exactly
It just
what they're
haven't
seeing.
materialized yet. It's moving at a slow rate.
I don't see a lot of people. I don't see a lot of gun companies necessarily going out of business or anything. Yeah, they might have to lay off some people, and then the business will go back up and they'll hire more people in. This may be off topic, but automotive industry runs in 11-year cycles where every company is scrambling to get people because they have so much work, and then 11 years later they're laying off 60% of their workforce, and then 2 years later they hire them all back. I mean, it's very common. So I'm used to it, and I think the gun industry is just going through that similar thing. There's booms and busts, or maybe that's not boom and bust, might be the wrong word, but there's ups and downs, and they have to readjust accordingly.
Oh, dude, and Smeggy talking about the automotive industry as a correlation or whatever. Yes, that's exactly how it is. If the market then demands that everybody's working third shift and overtime, then that's what happens. They hire on extra. And then when times are a little slower or whatever, that's when that person draws for 18 months potentially or whatever. And then they get hired back again, like you said, a year and a half to 2 years later. I definitely have seen that happen to people that I know. Now, I don't know if that necessarily happens in the firearms industry, but I know that as manufacturing goes, there are certain factors that you can extrapolate across all of manufacturing. Whether it's resource management, transportation costs, and then also available market. So, I mean, like those factors amongst many more. I oversimplified that, but they're going to carry across all manufacturing, whether we're making a car, a widget, or an AR-15. So there's going to be a base. And so how we're talking about, I don't think that they necessarily made too many. Again, it's almost like an educated gamble is what it was. So it's not like they have, did they have to go pay for extra storage facilities for all of their product and buy extra warehouses for all of this? I sincerely doubt that. Yes, maybe their product is sitting in the warehouse and not moving as fast as they want. Yes, but you also understand just because it's not moving as fast as they want doesn't necessarily mean that it's not moving. I have seen businesses have unrealistic expectations at how fast their product should fly off the shelves. So the actual question or the topic for the gun biz was, will it shrink or expand in the next 4 years? I think that it is going to shrink potentially a little bit, but with the additions potentially of the Hearing Protection Act and some of the other stuff that is pro Second Amendment and freedom that might be coming down the pike, I think that it may expand in other areas, not necessarily just like you're saying, either ARs or 1911s or Glocks or, you know, whatever. I think that it will shrink maybe overall as like a percentage, not like anything to be freaked out about. But I think that it also, though, that it will expand in specific other areas, in my opinion.
I'd agree. I would pretty much agree with that. That, you know, and as you mentioned, depending on what changes either are or are not made in Congress and come through, that'll determine the path as to what happens there.
And I do like standing by if they have an dare I say excessive amount of stock. There's going to be sales. There's going to be lower prices at some point, right? I mean, number one way to move product at a faster rate is to lower the price. So that's why that one statement that person had made was it's going to be a buyer's market. So like enjoy it now while you can, which I don't know if that defeats the purpose of you don't need a lot of guns. I mean, of course the gun industry or the gun business wants you to feel like you need a lot of guns. Of course, that's why they're there. But G, what do you think? Do you think it's going to expand or contract over the next 4? Like, legitimately, that is the actual question.
Right, and I just
all this other baloney aside.
I just ate a handful of peanuts. So give me a second.
Okay, no worries. Dano?
I think it's kind of a 50-50, very much depending on the legislation.
He just said he'd agreed with you. The second time for him to agree with you twice.
I'm just making sure. Just making sure, dude. Are you done with your peanuts in your mouth?
Crunch, crunch, crunch.
Done eating, yes. So
okay.
I don't agree with either one of you. So a number of things to talk about here. First, I think we should start with Enrique brought up a good point on the YouTube side, even though it's on the YouTube side, that the government is all about keeping vendors on the hook, and perhaps there was some government contracts that didn't come through. That's a potential. And I don't know, because we're talking coal, right?
Yep.
We're selling to, and they don't sell to us normally. I mean, they do sell to us, but they don't make their living, right? They make their living selling to our state and other governments. We don't know what's going on in other governments. But anyway, I think that we got a couple of things that could change, and I would agree with you if things didn't change, but I have no reason to believe things are not going to change. I think things change all the time, and so I think the industry can grow, and it has all the potential to grow. We see that there's strides in the legislation side, which is positive, and we have never been in a situation, at least none of us have lived in the situation where gun laws were going to a positive direction. We've definitely never lived in a situation where the gun laws could potentially go in a positive situation, and there's an internet where we all are very accustomed and used to sharing our adventures and our info and sharing things online. So not only is this stuff not going to happen in a vacuum this time, but it's going to have all the potential in the world to catch fire and go viral. So I think that we've got a potential to reach as many gun owners as ever, and we've got positive stuff. I think one of the positive things that is in the works is that bill to change sporting use to lawful use, and that means recreational use of a magazine-fed 12 gauge is good to go. Your street sweepers, all your just fun stuff that's fun to take out to a gravel pit. And that's all you need is a gravel pit, somewhere where they scrape a bunch of sand out of the ground so you have a little berm to shoot into. And almost nobody cares if you shoot into something like that, because you just take a truck in there and you scrape a bunch of bit of it into the truck and you dump that off at the dump, and all the garbage is gone. So stuff like that, where recreational use of firearms is now not persecuted basically or restricted. And so that opens up a lot of fun. Slide fire stocks and all that, I think, are showing that. Part of the reason we lose ammo is because people are shooting, right? Let's not forget that.
Slide fire stocks, what is this, 2014 you're talking about here?
No, I know, but I'm just saying in general, the recreational fun, going out and just having fun. I mean, we still, like, we all know there's going to be a growth in the competition sports, or I would assume there would be. They all seem to be, you know, growing and thriving. I don't know about hunting. But hunting, I'm not sure how big a thing that is for us, what we're talking about here. But I think the recreational side is where we have a chance to grow. And I guess what I was going to say to complement that, we have the social media. So not only are people recreationally shooting and sharing it, which encourages others to do it and to participate in that, both online and in real life, but it also means that the established stuff, again, we're not in a vacuum here. We're living in the year 2017. We've had 5 solid years of people figuring out how to use YouTube and people understanding YouTube as a option, a viable option for being entertained. So all these AR-15s and stuff are a ton of YouTube videos waiting to happen, and that's all good for everybody. I've always been an advocate for bringing it back into the culture through grassroots. So I could see it being taking a wave. In other words, I'm not going to suggest it's going to happen, but if we're talking about projections, I'm thinking that the environment could change where recreational shooting just becomes a big thing, big fun thing to do. And all those guns get snatched up, because when you're talking AR-15s, it's like potato chips, right? People own more than one AR-15 comfortably. You can own 6 AR-15s comfortably.
All right, Smags, lay it on us, bro.
I don't know. Go either way.
Will it shrink or expand? I mean, you can just address it as that, even. And you could say it'll do both. I mean, just tell us what you're thinking.
I think it definitely has potential to expand. Yeah, I'm gonna go that way. I think, and it might, bounce a little. That's everything always kind of does, but definitely what G was saying. There's more people out there having fun, and then their buddies see them having fun, so they decide to get one and whatever. Like, especially with tweaks to different laws or whatever. Yeah, I think it will expand. I guess what we're projecting out for the next couple of years or something. Is that what we're?
Yeah, over the next 4. I guess we're basically talking the Trump presidency if he does not get reelected.
Then yeah, I think at least by the end of 4, it will have expanded
from what it is now.
Yes. More
and honestly, I mean, I can see that. I definitely, like we were talking about, when you have excess stock or whatever, you're gonna put stuff on sale to move product, because product sitting in the warehouse does you absolutely no good, and it actually costs you more money for it. So just sitting there, occupying space.
Right, and exactly, and they might, readdress maybe some of their business plans, and maybe in the future, do something where they're not working as much overtime. Like, I'm not saying they're going to stop making things, but
exactly,
maybe they don't work as much overtime or something, or they invest in like research and development, like new stuff, and so that takes a drain on a company for a couple of years while you're sinking your money into that, which we didn't really quite bring up because I guess we were talking more in general. But I know I've heard people say Silencer Co. is hurting because of the Hearing Protection Act, because no one's buying silencers now. They're all just waiting. And I would say if you want one, just go ahead and get one now. Get the process started, because it's going to take a while for that thing to pass. And there's no guarantee that it will pass anyway. So now you've waited 3 years, and then you have to start the process. And then ultimately, also, if it does pass, dude, there's going to be such a run on it that they're not going to be able to keep up in the first initial part. So you're going to have to wait a little bit anyways.
Well, and I wonder sometimes specifically about Silencer Co. or Gemtech or something like that, if they are literally honestly worried about the Hearing Protection Act. Now, do you think it's just that the stuff's not moving enough right now? Because they got to know that if it passes, they're going to be more busy than like 22 manufacturers were, right. Well, that's back in 13 or whatever.
And that's what I was getting to, and I distracted myself because I don't know, I do that sometimes. But Silencer Co. specifically, and I've heard other people that are a little more in the business than myself say that they really sunk a lot of stuff into that Maxim 9. And so there might be, playing it off PR wise or marketing wise, saying, "Oh, we're hurting because no one's buying silencers," and trying to encourage people to. But maybe if you read between the lines, they might have sunk a little too much money into R&D type of stuff.
How much money do they possibly think they did to make a pistol? So, and then ask yourself, are you buying a suppressor today? Okay, nobody has to answer that because everybody's answering that to themselves honestly. Now answer this question. 2 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, there's no NFA, and you can just go to the store and for whatever, $44.73 and the cost of it, you can buy a suppressor. Are you buying a suppressor then? Answer that question honestly to yourself, and then ask if these companies are fucking playing around about people not buying cans.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering. It's like they got to know that in the future, either whether it goes through or doesn't go through, like it's not like people are going to stop buying their product. And if anything, their product as of right now is more popular than it's ever been. Wouldn't you agree? Like they got to be selling more suppressors now at this day and age, like than they have in their like company's history. I would assume, and I may be mistaken in that.
That's not what they're saying publicly.
In context, we had a deal where Obama just changed the trust situation. So in July of 2016, quite a few people put all their pennies together and formed trusts and bought their NFA items. Many of those are suppressors. I think they outweigh them 10-1 or something, other things. So a lot of people bought suppressors back then, and they bought them back then. That's July. Do you think a lot of people bought cans after that? And again, answer yourself honestly. Are you going to buy a can today at the store? And then will you buy a can X amount of time from now when they're just off the NFA? Of course, we're all going to buy cans for all of our guns when they're off the NFA.
Let's got that right.
You know that. We're not buying them today. So to suggest that these companies are feigning drops in sales because of some perceived cost of development on a product, let's talk about what company we're talking about here. Silencer Co. Name one item that they brought to the table that wasn't researched and developed by them. They came out of the fucking box with the Osprey, changing the fucking shit up already. Everything they've done is research and development. You're telling me that company doesn't know how to do research and development, Risley? I say screw that. I say that we all can acknowledge that we're not buying cans today. We did buy cans a couple of months, 6 months ago. This industry is definitely feeling it right now. So whether or not in the future they might be rich, we can't. I'm going to stop short of suggesting that they're pulling some kind of malarkey in order to get us to buy cans today. I think that the whole industry is suffering, and Silencer Co. This might just be a bigger, everybody has a different business model. I'm not trying to justify anything I don't know.
Well, more of their ass may be hanging out the window in the breeze is what we're kind of saying, right?
I have no idea. Like I say, I'm not trying to justify their shit. I just want us to not think, oh, it's just big business and they just did their big business wrong. I seriously think that we all know when we're thinking about it that we ain't buying cans today.
Well, no, but can we address the fact that they may have sunk a good portion of their R&D into the Maxim 9?
No, I've been there. I know the guy.
All right.
I'm friends with them, but I've been there. I don't believe that they are naive enough to throw their business into some.
Well, here's the deal, man. You don't have to be naive to make a mistake, though. Come on.
No, I hear you, but these guys seem very sharp, and they seem like they got their shit together, and they've proven over the years that they've done good business. So I could be completely wrong, but I just don't see them being that far askew. And
can we also agree that just because a business or a company makes a mistake doesn't mean that they're morons on any level or whatever, right? Or like we're all still human, so we all still have the potential for making mistakes or being wrong or misreading the tea leaves, so to speak. So I mean,
well, I'm over.
I agree with you in that they are a quality company and that they probably wouldn't overshoot the mark. I'll definitely agree with you on that. I'm just wondering if they were thinking they might have a different response than what they had received from the Maximum 9. And I guess that's different from saying how much they put into it. That's actually totally different from that, now that I look at it.
No, they know that that's a gun that's only going to exist after the suppressors are off.
The HPA or the NFA being gone. I gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm not going to jive with the like, oh, let's 2020 hindsight, our perception of if they did good business because they're saying that the industry's suffering, because I think we can all acknowledge that the industry's suffering. So I don't think it's logic. I don't think it's a one-to-one. you know, that just because they created a pistol, they also created a pistol right before Hillary. Are we gonna, you know, gonna tell them that they did it at the wrong time because of Hillary? I think they're a competent company. They came out with some other cool stuff. They told us they're coming out with this a long time ago. So anyway, but where's the industry going? Did Dano said, oh man, Dano left without even doing his thing.
Yeah, that's because he didn't want to break the discussion. We got him covered.
So our viewers don't get a tactical pop quiz today.
No, we will still make sure it happens. Don't worry.
Oh, well, see, now you ruined it. You could have made it look like it wasn't even going to happen.
Oh, well.
Yeah, then it would have even been more surprised. But
Well,
I do want to say something.
I'm outright banning the whole possibility of having a tactical pop quiz today. How about that?
Fair enough. You're in charge, man.
Yeah, it's your 1 year anniversary. You're the only one that's been doing
That
it for
showed
the
up.
entire time.
Bob left you at the freaking. Anyway, never mind. I'm just gonna leave that one alone. That was about to be terrible.
So, but I did want to mention something because I don't know, G. Like some of the comments you said made it sound like I'm saying that like they're faking or something. That's not my intent. I would agree that probably silencer sales are down, and it's probably industry wide. I was just going off of what I've heard from other people that, you know, seem to be more in the know, that it's possibly hurting them a little bit more because they didn't like have as much in the bank type of thing. And that could be true. It could be false. I guess I don't know. Because you're right. They're probably the other silencer companies are also, you know, hurting. And I agree with you on that. Now it's,
well, the thing is, they may not be hurting. Like I say, who knows how everybody's business practice is? And you know, I'm just saying. I think the it's fair to say that people aren't buying cans. Is what I mean. So.
Well, but we all agree that if that HPA passes, that they're going to be on Easy Street like the song and walking down the yellow brick road.
Well, no, they'll just have other problems.
Too. But yeah,
as in being able to manufacture enough for the demand. I mean, I could be mistaken in reading the public's thought process on if you would have a can or more than one can, if it just became down to a $44.73 and no $200 tax stamp. Everybody that I've talked to that is not just like the single gun owner or the reluctant gun owner person, like I get differing out of those, but everybody else is like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to have one for this. I'm going to have one for that. I'm going to have one for this. So whereas before it was, oh man, I want a can that I can fit on 3 different setups or what have you. Now
it's use, you know,
right now what I'm hearing is no. I want one for my 45. I want one for my AR. I want one for my AK. And I'm like, well, then that's the right attitude. But like you're saying, G, if this goes through, yeah, they ain't going to be crying. That's for sure. Their pockets ain't going to be big enough.
Oh, hold on. I didn't say that either. So let's say it goes through, or when it goes through, when we're in that situation, when you buy a muffler for your Harley, you probably buy a brand name muffler, right? You probably buy a Harley one because it's right there and everybody can see it and you'd look.
I buy a quality aftermarket part for my quality vehicle, whatever we're talking a Harley or not.
Okay, so then let me say, if you're going to get your lawnmower muffler or your dirt bike muffler, do you care so much about it? The brand?
Me personally, I do.
Well, most people I think are going to say, on some guns, I want a nice can, and on some guns, if I can get one at the gun show, I'll get one at the gun show. And
I understand that. I do understand that.
So if that's the case, and then there's a lot of people that are going to go, oh, I can just make them. I'll just make them. There's going to be a lot of people that are still going to be frugal because it's still money. And there's going to be people who don't even want one because just because they make it accessible doesn't mean people are going to necessarily jump on it. So all I'm saying is that it's not an easy street for them. They will have some competition. And now all their competition has the doors open too. So whenever you have an industry change dynamically like that, it's not a done deal. They all have their niches because of what they do. And they're selling to a market that has to, number one, be able to afford it and go through the bureaucracy. And that restricts their market a lot. And by the time you're going through those two time and like obstacles and financial burdens, you are buying a can, like you guys said, for its practicality or for its effectiveness. So you only want quiet, or you only want a repeatable zero. You only want as multiple calibers as possible. You only want the lightest weight one. You only want whatever the characteristic is, right? When you can go buy one for each gun, that kind of priorities drop drastically, right? Plus, other people come to market and have real similar priorities. So what creates the market for these cans now is almost a forced market, right? A forced limited market. And like I say, when you're buying without all those burdens, probably don't give a crap. You'll go buy a $200 can that gets the job done. And
Well, and I guess
really
it's the whole thing. Like the rising tide raises all boats. So the fact that it's going to be a bigger market. So theoretically, every company should do better. However, some are going to ride that wave higher than others. Like whichever ones catch on more are going to ride it more.
You got to be in the right spot to catch the wave, or you get the best ride depending on where you place yourself or when it does ride. But you're right, G. And I guess I didn't really mean to say that if I was going to get a can for all, that they were all going to be from the same company, because I already know definitely that if it goes through that they won't be. I like, for example, for the AK, I want a Dead Air because those look fantastic. They're smaller, and it seems like they're specifically built for the AK. Now, whether I misunderstand that or it's just a matter of want, in my mind, that's what's coming home. You know, I got a feeling like for my 45, it probably would be Silencer Co. And then I was also thinking that it might, for the AR, it's probably going to be a Gemtech or something to that effect, because they have one of the good mounts. Well, I mean, a lot of them have good mounts, but that one in particular has one that I thought I liked. So I guess
so you're going to have different things.
Oh.
I look at that too. If I can do another analogy, it's like scopes. You know, you might buy one really awesome high quality scope, and that goes on your really good rifle, and then could either you change it, or like right now you would just buy the one and then change it and put it on every other rifle you have, just like the silencer, right? You'd buy one and then put it on any gun. But in the future, then you'll be able to buy a cheap one just for your little 22 or whatever. Like, you're just plinking, like you don't need a super high quality one or whatever. So yeah, there's going to be different needs, and different companies will fill those needs better or worse. So I'm looking forward to the competition. I do think overall silencer prices will come down a bit because of it, because of the extra competition. But the high quality stuff is still going to be high quality stuff. So there will still be your high end things, and then your cheaper and your mid grade, and you know, all the different levels.
Oh, and I guess I agree with G also on this, is that if somebody starts selling a kit that you can build at home, you too can build at home, I'm probably going to do one of those too. It's going to be like kids in a candy store almost. Slightly more expensive habit, but
only slightly. We're talking tubes and bottle caps,
right? Or washers and D-cell bag lights.
Yeah. All right. Well, so we all kind of agree. Well, no, we don't. You guys think it's going to go down miserably, probably fail, be gone completely.
What? Thanks. I'm glad you really listened to what I had to say. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I said it was going to go up.
Oh, okay. So we all agree it's going up, except for Dano, who thinks it's going to go down miserably, probably not even be an industry in the future.
There'll be no gun business in the after 4 years.
So I guess that'll take us into the next topic of the show.
Can do.
Well, do we want to
wait? Was that a segue, or what was that?
I was having something ready, and then I wasn't going to do that, and then I was going to do another thing, and then I was thinking we should probably do a segment instead of just talking about not doing what we're doing. So,
Matrix, you promised to kill me last.
Gun movie today? What?
Yes.
Well, don't we normally do something between the second and third topic?
We pay the bills. We pay the bills.
So yeah, we used to recommend people go over to Patreon and support the show. We have a couple of different levels over there. One of them would be the $1 a month, right? So we just switched it to monthly, so it's a lot less confusing, I hope. So you got the $1 a month, which allows you to participate in any of the Patreon events we do. Like next weekend, we'll be getting together to schedule the show out for the next month, and then any off-air stuff. Well, not off-air, but any off-schedule stuff that we do. Our Patreons are invited to join us. We'll do some polls and things occasionally to make sure that what we're putting out on the show is stuff that's of interest to you. And then we have a $3 a month level where you're still got access to everything, and then you're in the running for one of the patch giveaways each month. So we have that patch panel that we use for the daily patch giveaway, or the tactical pop quiz patch panel, and we've got a separate panel over there on Patreon, and anybody that's in the $3 a month level we just randomly pick a patch out of there, or a person out of there, and you grab one of the patches of your choice. So that's an opportunity to get one of the patches randomly, but without having to win the pop quiz. But if you do want to get a patch every month, no matter what, we also have a $20 a month level, and that basically just buys you a patch every month, and a couple of bucks of that goes to support the show. So that's how the Patreon works, and we are bringing in a few bucks, so we do appreciate that. It allows us to pay for the hosting, which is the funds that it takes to keep the show on iTunes, and it's a cost, right? So we are looking for some feedback. So if you're not interested in supporting us on Patreon, we would appreciate some feedback on whether or not you listen to it on iTunes. Now, if you don't listen to it on iTunes, that's just as valuable feedback, literally valuable feedback for us, than if you are over on iTunes listening. So if you're not listening on iTunes and you were to take the time to send us an email to dailygunshow@gmail.com and tell us that you're not listening on iTunes and you have no plans on it, that's literally valuable for us, because it'll save us dozens of dollars at this point. This is a 1 hour, 90-minute show sometimes that we put up 5 times a week. That creates quite a few sound files. So that's quite a bit of cost for transfers. And if the people that are out there taking the files that way aren't going to chime in and let us know you're out there, and that's all we get is feedback from the people that aren't, then that'll give us some insight. Like I said, that's a financial decision we can make. Because honestly, if we don't get much feedback from the iTunes thing, not only is it a cost, but it's the thing that takes all the time. We do the show for about an hour or 90 minutes, but it takes a while to download the audio and then convert it and upload it over to iTunes and set it all up over there. And definitely when that accumulates over the month, I mean, I could literally be doing a whole nother YouTube video in the amount of time it takes me over the month to post the iTunes stuff. So definitely looking for some feedback, and we want to say thanks for the people that check us out over on Patreon. We should have a link at the bottom of, or in the show description of every show that we do out here. All right, that's still, I was talking and not clicking on what I'm supposed to be looking for over here. But I think we were going to talk about Smeggy's favorite topic, windbreakers.
Windbreakers?
Yep. There we go. Wow. See, Dana leaves us hanging. I had to go find my M60. I didn't have any ammo anywhere.
Takes a while to load that belt, man.
Well, I didn't have to load the belt, but I had to go find it.
Oh, well, that's even worse.
Or was this 308 belt laying all around?
Right? You think that just lays around on the back of the chair like a used pair of pants?
Yeah, I could have shot the PKM, but that wouldn't have been appropriate for the daily pop quiz.
Actually, a PKM may have been perfect for today's pop quiz. See what I did there? See what I did?
Yep. But I want to take the time to play Dano here and say, that's right. It's time for the daily pop quiz.
Oh my God. It was worth it.
So
all right.
Get your fingers on your fingers and your cursors on your text box or whatever the
Better
hell
be
he says.
stretching those Google foo muscles today, folks. I'm talking to you, gun channels. I'm talking to you, YouTube, because
Hold on, stop. This is money. So we're getting a question on the gun channel side. Is it that they didn't realize it was $1 a month now? Because we used to have it 4 times a month, so a lot of people were putting $1 into the Patreon, and then it would bill them 4 times. Since it's only monthly now, it is just going to be $1. And yes, you can go over there and adjust your numbers at any time. And that's also a good time to let people know it'll bill at the end of the month. So if we suck, feel free to turn it off, and then you have not paid anything for us. So we're not asking for $1 and then we'll dance for you. We'll do a little dance, and Smeggy will sing a little song. And then at the end of all that, you decide, okay, let my $1 or my $3 or my $20 go through. And you can donate any amount you'd like. I actually don't consider a donation. You can contribute as much as you like. It's not like we're taking this as extra off the top.
They're like associate producers.
Exactly. We're not taking this and buying lattes with it. We're literally making it so that we have more time to spend on the show and get out and do things. I've got some deliberations to do this weekend. I've got something I could do potentially to help the show out, but then I also have to try to not, to make the $160 I'm under right now on my bank account, get out of that hole. So since that doesn't bring in actual scratch, it's going to end up being, I got to go, hustle something else. And, I'm not going to probably be able to take this opportunity this weekend, which sucks. But anyway, it's not, I just want to make it sound like when we say tip jar or when we say donate, it almost makes it sound like this lets us get a little whipped cream on our latte next week. And it's literally keeping the lights on, like literally letting us do the show. So we do appreciate that. And sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there, but that was, I think, worth interrupting for.
Oh, absolutely. And it's easy, actually. At one point, when you can actually put in the dollar amount that you want, actually, if you don't want it to be one of the levels. Because I know that I think I was at the $3 level, and I think I just changed it to literally $5. So, I mean, and that's just on that. So
we have a $1 level, which is participation in the show and access to all the Patreon stuff we do. There's a $3 level, which is that same thing, except that we also do a free patch drawing once a month. Now, not everyone gets the patch. One person gets the patch from that pool of people that are donating $3 or are posting or supporting us with $3. If you want to be guaranteed a patch, it's $20 a month. We used to have a $5 level, and 5 times 4 is 20. And that was multiply confusing for everyone, especially if they jumped in at the last week of the month and threw $5 in and then were offended because the patch wasn't coming. And it was difficult for us to keep track of all that. And it just didn't turn out to be a way to do it, right? So we're going to do it by the month here. So if you want a guaranteed patch off the patch panel, then it's $20, which basically you're paying $20 for a patch shipped.
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Thanks.
All right. Are we ready?
Yeah, I was just
we're good to go.
Coming in on YouTube and Gun.
Nope, that's totally cool, man. Totally cool.
I just want to say I'm going to interrupt you again for Vroomtastic. I don't know, maybe I was far away from my mic, but my hands hurt, so that was not a weak clap. Maybe it just didn't come through on the microphone, but it was a damn good clap. I heard it echo in my living room.
There you go. Good job, buddy. Good job.
I'm just kidding. I know he listens a lot.
All right. So again, stretch that Google fool out, fool. Are you ready? We're ready. It's happening. It's on. Now, we're looking for one particular answer. Spelling is important. Here we go. Rock and roll. What was the first film where an AK rifle made an appearance? And this is not an easy one. Nice. Thank you.
Tick, 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 tick.
So that's how I was thinking. If you did have a PKM, that might have been apropos for today, actually, for covering fire.
You got to slap your ice cream spoon against your empty ass ice cream bowl.
Oh, is that how that works? I don't eat ice cream anymore.
Weak sauce. Pork chop hill is incorrect.
Parkash Rio or whatever is incorrect.
I believe that is incorrect. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to give you a hint. It might not be.
Crack Roo? John Wayne movie?
No, those are all wrong. Again, the USA is not the only country ever to make a movie.
Ice Station Zebra.
Incorrect. Oh, boom. You know why. You know why he got it.
What a jackass.
Connery looked it up. Yes. Maxim Parapolista, or Polista, probably.
Maximum Purple. Maximum Purple was the answer.
Okay, but we're actually going to give it to Sean because he actually did spell it right. So, congratulations, Mr. Ponnery.
That movie, right?
Excuse me, what?
Maximum Purple, that's that Prince movie?
No.
Oh.
Oops.
Nice. That's pretty loud. So anyway, Mr. Ponnery, you know what? It's Friday. It's your day. Win a couple of times this week even. So that makes you the last Technical Pop Quiz hot shot for the week. So good job and congratulations.
That was on the Gun Channel side?
Yes, Gun Channel side, Mr. Sean Ponnery.
And since we're at our 1 year anniversary show, that is also makes Sean the winningest participantist of the year.
Nice.
Correct? So
Man, I think so.
Are you gonna start the totals over starting next show, or are you gonna just keep track?
no. What are you, communist? What do you gotta make it even for everybody or something? Well, it's
Nice participation trophies.
I was
Yeah,
just
I think
curious. It'd be
It is right.
interesting to
First
do-
and last of the week. He is the
Everyone-
alpha and the omega.
everybody in the audience, look underneath your chairs. You've got a patch. You've got a patch.
You've got a patch, and you've got a patch, and you've got a patch. But you know what? I think we do need an alpha and the omega patch or badge. We need the alpha and the omega patch because he did win on the first and last day of the week. So we either need a badge for that or a patch for that.
Here's a question: who won on the first pop quiz show?
Well, we
Who
weren't
was
keeping
the
track
first
back
hot
then.
shot?
It's probably no, that's not the same thing because the tactical
I know,
quiz was before the tactical
excluding-
pop quiz.
Excluding tactical quiz. I'm talking pop quiz only, which
And-
technically hasn't even been going on for a full year. So
Right, but there was a pop quiz before there was a hot shot. Technically,
oh,
it wasn't very long before I invented the hot shot, though.
We need a daily
I'd
gun,
like to know who was the first hot shot.
we need a daily gun show historian, little old lady preferably, who's gonna sit in a low room with like old timey books and whatnot, and then scroll through all of our old videos. Oh wait, if we do an old lady, she's gonna get
Offended.
by
Big
Bob.
time.
Not pay attention. So maybe I don't know. We need to find somebody to go through and look at all the old episodes and then archive all those important pieces of history like that.
I'm going to throw it out there. Anyone who actually does go back and listens and finds out that who the first hot shot was,
And can prove it, of course, right?
well, yeah, just say what show it was in or whatever. But
Link to it.
I'm going to like you.
What?
Oh,
Yeah. I'm going to like whoever.
Whoa.
Now, are you talking like Facebook? You talking like a sub on YouTube? You talking Instagram follow? What are we talking here?
Are you
What are we
talking?
talking?
Are you talking like?
I'm
Like?
talking like.
Whoa. Whoa. Technically, that's not prostitution, but man, it seems damn close.
What?
Yeah,
You're
you're
allowed
willing
to
to
like anyone you want.
you're willing to sell your likes for something in return. That technically
No.
is
No, I
yeah.
no.
Just because you're taking her out to dinner doesn't make her any less of a prostitute.
Get your mind out of the gutter and don't talk about her like that. But anyways, I'm just saying I'm gonna like the person. Jesus.
Okay,
that's
Fair
so
enough. Fair enough.
complicated.
Nope, that's
We
fair
can-
enough. Fair
we
enough.
look at that and come up with some sort of patch for like Gun Channel's archivist or something. If somebody wants to take on that task, we would appreciate it. Not that it's necessary, so it's no urgency or whatever. But yeah, that'd be kind of interesting. And any type of somebody does happen to go back and listen to some of the old shows and discovers the first time, I don't know, something happened. Let us know. And I don't know, anybody that wants to, since we're talking about the year, mention anything in the comments while we're still live here about stuff that happened over the year. We can mention it here since it is our year show. Maybe there.
Yeah, audience, what was your favorite daily gun show moment of the year?
What was your favorite thing that Bob said or that Dano?
Suck it up, Buttercup.
But with that, we will move on to the gun shop of the day. And today we're going to do an unprecedented audience gun shop of the day. So we're doing gun shop of the day, but there's a lag. So people who are watching us live can post in some suggestions of shops in their area. Give us like the name of the shop, city and state, and then maybe a quick what's so good about it. And we'll read those off as they start to show up on the screen. So that way we're doing sort of an interactive gun shop of the day. And it'll be multi-shopped, I'm assuming. We'll probably take some of those and copy and paste them in for future shows as well. So we appreciate the participation there. And why don't we move on to the gun of the day while we're doing that?
May I also say we already had somebody post what their favorite part of the year was, and that was Dano's tape saga.
Tape saga. When
Oh,
you're
the tape at the
office supplies?
tape at the post office.
They don't
Yeah,
give
when you
that
went into
stuff
the
away
post
for
office.
free, you know.
Yeah.
Your office supplies from him. He's like, you own office supplies. I demand them. I need them.
Free, says me. And was disgruntled about it. But anyway, yeah, that was some pretty funny stuff. That's in my top 10 for sure.
Was that in the video, or was that in the lobby? And then
No, that was on the show, man, because we beat that subject up a little bit for like a month or so. Actually, I still throw it out there every once in a while, just like a turd grenade.
I feel like this show lets us all grow a little bit, and in Dano's case, it's with his relationship with his post office people.
Nice. So what do we got here, G? We got yourself a little derringer, a little high standard.
Yeah, that's a goofy looking gun. That's kind of cool.
We do a gun every day to talk about a different gun every day, since it's a gun-related gun show. And today it's this thing called the high standard derringer. I don't like them, but I guess like safe people think they're interesting or whatever. They've got a unique manual of arms, so they break top like a shotgun, I guess. Oh, and
look at that lock. Jeez Louise.
For the people that are listening to this podcast, we're watching this YouTube video, which is linked in the show description. If you want to watch the quick video I did, probably judging from the oldness of it, a long time ago. But yeah, it's got a weird kind of thingy that's its rear sight, right, that lifts up to unlock the back, and then it opens like a shotgun or a single barrel shotgun might. Just kind of rocks forward and has an ejector. These aren't bad guns. They're double action, so you notice you don't have the stupid hammer to pull back.
Right.
So as far as a practical derringer, these are probably one of your better ones. They are a long, deliberate double action pull, so they don't have a complete trigger guard, but they do have that little thingy sticking up.
10, 12 pounds, you think?
Oh, I don't know. They're hard. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Little kid ain't necessarily going to pick the additions at it. Little kid can do it because it can use its whole hand. But yeah, you have to definitely deliberately pull that trigger back a long ways. There's travel.
What's your opinion of that trigger guard too? That looks like interesting stuff there.
I was just saying. So that's to basically just stop. I think it's just to stop like gunk from getting stuck behind there as you're pulling the trigger. Because it really serves no other purpose safety wise. It's just to stop something from getting maybe your fingers even from just because you might grab the gun up there with that wasn't there. Anyway, it's a neat little gun, double action. They're not inexpensive, and I don't think you see them all that often. I can't remember last time I saw one at store. Do you guys remember seeing one of those?
No.
They
I've never seen them before.
Not on the shelf or anything like that, but I don't remember if I watched that video that you had put up, because I've definitely watched videos like that where there's little derringers that I've never seen before.
That video I posted in February of 2010, so that's about 7 years.
No kid, dude.
I have to say, I do like the way that like it gets really narrow at the top. Like that was kind of a cool, whether it be like the profile or whatever. Like that's what I think it looks kind of neat.
Yeah,
so is that also considered a pocket gun then? Could that be the other reason for the way that trigger guard is? You think?
Oh, definitely, that's definitely made to be. That's a useful pocket gun, yes, because it's double action and it's probably 22 Magnum.
Ooh,
so it's
spicy.
It's more than just your like goofy, take an hour to reload type of old style Remington Derringers, which look cool.
With that whole flipping back and around and pointing the barrel at yourself, or flipping the actual handle forward and holding on to the hot barrel, you mean like that?
Yeah, but you're flipping barrels around that have nothing. There's not even a chamber. I mean, it's open, so it's not dangerous or anything. I really think the little trigger guard looking thing on this thing is just so you don't accidentally bring your other 3 fingers up behind the trigger, which you might do if you were just,
and then it would be impossible to then pull the trigger, actually.
Yeah,
I got you.
Trigger, yeah. So, but like I say, I want to say that thing was probably $700 back then. Maybe I'm wrong.
Damn.
Maybe it was like a $350 gun. I don't remember. They've always been more than I would casually spend on them, because I don't like them. I like my revolvers to be my derringers and my little guns to be intricate and tedious. I don't like them to be useful and efficient. It's just
No, yeah, I'm just gonna leave that alone, because that's just too.
Otherwise, I buy them for the fun of them. I don't buy them to be efficient guns. So that just doesn't.
I understand.
So that was our gun of the day. We might as well do a movie of the day as well. So every day we like to talk about a movie that you might not have seen in a while, or if you're a little kid, you have not seen this movie yet, and it's called Commando. Has everybody seen this one?
Remember when I promised to kill you last, Sonny? Or is it Sully? It's Sully, not Sunny, right?
I
Sully.
lied.
Yes, Matrix. That's right. You did. I lied. Ray Don Chong firing the. So is that a rocket launcher? Is that what that is, G? That she sits in the seat of the convertible? Is it and was that real? Is the thing that I don't remember?
You're all gonna hate, but I didn't like this movie that much, and I've probably only seen it like 3 times.
Really?
So,
Oh man, see, this was when Arnold could practically do no wrong in my mind. I mean,
I
he'd
think this
already
is-
done Commando, he'd done Predator, he'd done Raw Deal.
This is Commando.
What did I say?
He'd already done Conan.
Yes. Yes, that's what I meant. That is what I meant. So, like, he was already kind of a, you know, this
What year-
to me just cemented it.
What year is Commando?
I don't know. I'm betting like 86 or something.
Bonus question. Nobody answers it. All right, I guess I will look on the internet. What's Maggie?
Take a stab at it.
I've never seen it.
What's going on?
What year did
Have
Commando come out?
Movie, you giving it a thumbs up? What's the deal? It's 1985. It turns out.
Oh, dang, that's close.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it a thumbs up, but I'm with you. I don't think I've seen it all that often. Like, it was all right.
This was
Man.
right before I was going into the army, and I think I just wasn't into the like exaggerated stuff. I think I was getting a little more serious by then, so I would have appealed to more of the like
I
drama.
think I was in junior high in 85 or 86. And so it was one of those ones. It was the right time. All of that, dude. It was Arnold being awesome. He had to fight a. If anything, it was Arnold's game of death, honestly, because he had to hunt down and kill all the dudes one by one, which is like basically climbing each level of the pagoda of death, like Bruce Lee did. So to me, and he had to fight the hardest dude at the last. Yes, I eat green berets for breakfast. He did say that.
Yeah, that kind
Anyway.
of bullshit doesn't win me as an audience.
Well, it was a joke, see, and that's the whole other thing is there were a lot of the one-liners, and this movie was full of the one-liners, and that was why I thought I enjoyed it so much. Again, I must be just that little much younger than you, and that much little bit older than Smiggy, where it was the one where it was the right time, right place, right all of that. The seaplane, thought it was awesome. The dude carrying a log over his shoulder like a boss, that was something that inspired me to be able to carry a log on my shoulder.
This is the one where he's got Alyssa Milano as his daughter.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Bill Paxton, R.I.P., was in this movie.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm just looking at the wiki, and it says he was Interceptor in this movie.
Nice. Yeah, so this for me, and this was one of the ones where I never realized that there were secret rooms in every gun shop in California. I didn't realize that was a thing. Because it was in that movie and then a couple other movies over the years. And I'm like, oh, so that just means that every gun shop in California has a secret back room where they have automatic weapons and rocket launchers and all that kind of surplus stuff just laying around.
Yeah, it's always the room that the ATF never bothers to go into and doesn't know about. That's the room where you
Yeah, they clearly don't know that it's there. So yes, I'll understand what you're saying, G, and that especially where your mindset was at about just getting ready to go in and stuff like that. I'm sure that it was unrealistic. Like you said, they probably said some things in there that would have, irked you a little bit. I can definitely understand that, dude. I mean, I understand. But again, it was at the right time for me where it was like Arnold could do no wrong. He was ruling the world of movies pretty much at that point. There's some knife fighting. He flips the Porsche 911 back over. The fight in the mall. He has to kill the guy from Road Warrior in the chainmail vest after he had a few too many burgers and shrimps on the Barbie.
This movie is it's got just as much 80s in it as any Chuck Norris movie has, early 80s.
Oh, easy. Yes, this is quintessential 80s. It's got 80s mall hair. It's got the flashy clothes. Yeah.
Them jeans where you have elastic around your like ankle for some reason, like if you were gonna drop stuff out of your pants and you didn't want it to drop out.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
All right. Well, so that's the movie of the day. I'm giving
Definitely
it
2 thumbs up.
1 for me. What'd you say it was? That Tommy?
Mine was like kind of thumbs up, like a soft thumbs up. But speaking of thumbs up, we have a lot of people watching and not very many thumbs up on YouTube. What the heck, people?
That's because they haven't decided if they watched enough of the show to give us that thumbs up, knowing they can't take it back. They're just being extra critical today, extra scrutinizing it.
But I do want to kind of jump back to the gun shop, though. I noticed over here on the YouTubes, Harley's Gun and Ammo Gun Shop in Georgia. Address is blah, 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 Coolidge, Georgia. I'm not going to read all the numbers. You can find it. Says great friendly service.
Nice. It's kind of talk I like to
That's
hear.
always good to find in a gun shop.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm going to grab that info and drop it in here. And thanks for the info. Even though Smeggy doesn't want to read it, we will use it when we do that, when we feature it later.
Okay, fine. 21398 US 319.
Disagree with
Georgia 31738.
Sam. We'll use it all.
There. That's the address. But yeah, that's cool. There's not much other description about it other than great friendly service. So I don't know if it's a big shop or a small shop or whatever. I'm guessing since it's like a name, Guns and Ammo, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's kind of like a mom and pop type shop. Doesn't necessarily have to be, but that's my guess, knowing nothing about it. So that's what I'm gonna say it is now.
I also know very little or nothing about it, but I'm going to suggest that it's probably painted blue. The outside of the shop.
Well, the name like Harley's.
And we're told it's a new shop. That's always cool. Glad to see new shops starting up, even though the industry is
destined to fail.
Doomed to fail. Maybe they should have called Dano before they opened a new shop. He would have set them straight.
All right, so that was the gun.
Did gun channels pop up any shops? I haven't looked over there yet.
They did. They have not.
No, they're just sitting there.
Bunch of slackers. Come on, you guys live all different places around the country. You don't go to any gun shop?
They are talking about the gun movie of the day. Yes, it's a real launcher. It's the M202 Flash.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to sneak in a healthy tip. Every day we like to
I don't like
remind
the way you said that, mister.
Just the tip. I would like to slip in that the most important part of the gun is the part that pulls the trigger. With that in mind, a healthy tip. Today it is from the audience. I forget who this was, so I don't think I intentionally usually strip the names. I think Dano leaves the names on because I don't know. I don't know for privacy or whatever. People want their names said when they email them. I think this was an email. Anyway, my healthy tip is that I have been riding my bike on the trainer every day while listening to the show. So I'm guessing that means one of them exercise bikes. And there's a healthy tip right there. If you're going to be listening to a podcast or something like this, plus we're going to get your blood boiling. So this way, you're using up some of that energy and you're not like, I don't know, kicking a puppy or something.
Could you imagine how many miles you could bike during the good idea, bad idea segment?
That's what I'm saying. You can just bike faster when Bob starts saying weird things or Dano says stuff.
What? A monkey with a knife? Urgh! I bet you maybe you should be doing some deadlifts or something and you set a world record. Pick up the whole rack and throw it across the gym.
Carrying logs like Schwarzenegger and Commando, bro.
I kind of feel like somebody needs to send our podcast to the Olympic training place.
I'm going to leave that alone.
I'm just saying, so that way they can give it to their athletes.
I personally think you should have the oils done, and it might be on its last rites. I mean, somebody ought to call a priest pretty much for that podcast on iTunes, pretty much.
I'm just saying. Wait, what? You're saying they were getting a lot of feedback that no one listens to it on iTunes?
We did get a little bit of feedback on YouTube about how nobody listens to it on iTunes.
Yeah, there was like 2 or 3 on YouTube and like 2 or 3 on gun channels.
To be fair, we just said it right now. Hasn't even ended, so I haven't turned it into a podcast. I haven't posted it. No one's listened to it, and they definitely haven't had a chance to respond to something we haven't heard.
Oh yeah, we're getting feedback from the
actual
part of the audience that we know probably isn't listening on iTunes. Although there could be, I listen to live when I can. I grab iTunes when I can't. That would have been a possibility.
For sure. I listen to it live, and then my friend listens to it on iTunes, or my girlfriend, or my wife, or my mom, or my sister listens to it on iTunes.
We got another gun shop here in the YouTube side.
Yeah.
You figure out how to say that.
Scroopbox Sporting Goods in Jackson, Michigan.
Whatever.
I'm gonna go with Shootbox.
Shootbox.
I like it. I like when people use their names for their shop and then they don't like turn it into like Smiths, you know? Like right on. Keep your freaking.
Anyway, so yeah, that's Shootbox Sporting Goods in Jackson, Mississippi, or Michigan, excuse me. Jackson, Michigan.
The good Jackson.
Yeah.
You know, the one with the prison.
I was just gonna say, isn't there a prison there?
Yeah.
In Jackson, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, the former mayor of Detroit's chilling out over there.
I can neither confirm nor deny of how or why I may or may not know that.
But anyways, yeah, not a lot of details about that, but okay, I'm sure it's a cool shop. I mean, everything in Michigan's awesome, so
pretty much.
So Michigan centric.
Hey man, I wear my bias on my sleeve. I've never claimed to be objective. That's pretty obvious.
Fact.
You did that. All right. Are we going to do anything for the wrap up this week? Gun deals wrap up?
I mean, are you going to like freestyle some deals, or what do you got in mind, buddy? Or are we going to talk about the week that we had on the show?
Well, we can do that, I guess. So,
because I don't. Last time I checked on the deals, I don't know that there has been too many additions of deals being added.
With the industry, like finally coming to a halt, there's probably fewer and fewer. There'll be a lot of going.
Well, I know for a while there, I was literally posting deals on there on Thursday or Friday before the show, just so that there would be something to talk about on the deals page. So I have not checked back in since I stopped doing that. So, yeah.
So you should mention we do leave a segment at the end of Fridays like this at the end of the week, where ideally, once we get our shit together, it's our fault 100%. But what we want to do is have reflection on what happened during the week for news and for deals, whatever people have posted in the trading post over on Gun Channels, things that you're buying, selling, or trading, just yourself, or if you want to point to a gun deal, a sale, or a coupon code, or some kind of a combo set or something that some website or somebody has. We have a channel over on Gun Channels where you can post that. It's gunchannels.com/gundeals. Yep. And we were going to spend the end of Friday shows going back and looking over that. That's really still the goal, but you've got to be realistic about it. There's only so much time, and you can see what we get. With the amount of time we're able to spend prepping shows and stuff, we're able to do what we're doing. So as soon as we have more time to be able to devote to it, this will be a more elaborate section of the show, and that is one of our goals. But until then, we talked about guns in the home yesterday. I think that one turned out to be pretty interesting. We kind of do vague subjects and then let them kind of go with what the day feels like. I think that one worked pretty decent. We talked about training gear, and then we talked about some shooting events. On Wednesday, we talked we had a tactical quiz where we showed some still shots from various movies. We had the entertainment segment talking about shooting sports, and then the CCW segment was crossing state lines. On Tuesday, we talked about what we can forecast the feds will go after next. I honestly don't even remember that. Did we actually do that one?
Oh, yeah.
What did we think they were going to go after next?
Oh,
Did that turn into a national reciprocity thing?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, because we started talking about the
derailed a little and said that the states are the ones that all the anti stuff's coming from.
Right. And we did say also that there are Democrats or whatever still in federal Congress, whether senators or reps, that are still trying to put anti-gun legislation through. It's just that it's getting slapped down so quick that we hardly even hear about it. They're still trying to promote that stuff. They haven't stopped.
Yeah, so I think it was basically, just to go over real quick, like they're still going to go after expanded background checks. They're still going to go after magazines, assault weapons, in quotes.
Yep.
And then also smart gun. Those
Yes.
are what I see the feds going after in the future.
Pushing.
So we also talked about the good idea, bad idea segment. Good idea, bad idea segment was SBRs for cold weather. I think we all said.
Apparently, we all said no. Not a good idea.
Then we talked about Alaska, and we set up for next week to talk about
New York.
Now, Tuesday, we also had the guys on from Andalusia Armory, which is a show that we corked on Tuesdays. It means we put our show time slot right on top of their existing. They already own that time slot. We came along with our weekly show, had to set it down somewhere knowing we were going to step right on top of somebody. And that was the time where we could do it, and it was the least amount of shows that we would hit. And so we had to do it. And it was a way to say thanks and to bring them on so we could talk to them and let our audience know about their show. We had the guys on. They run a shop in Andalusia, Alabama, and basically they shut their shop down on Tuesdays a little early. They set up a card table there at the shop. The three of them that run the shop sit there and kind of BS about what happened during the week, politics, their hobbies, that kind of thing. And it's really good insight. If you don't have a local shop where you have that relationship, it's sort of like having access to a shop that's giving you that kind of access, and it's super interesting. And since we got a little history about their shop, they originally the owner of the shop started in New York, running a gun shop in New York State, and then moved it down there. So since next week we're going to be talking about New York, they're going to be on again, and we're going to have some expert insight to New York laws and FFLs. So that was a great show on Tuesday, really.
Definitely. And just to did you do Thursday's show?
Yeah, I'm going backwards.
Yeah.
Just to wrap it up, Monday we talked about AK modernization and a little bit about the different podcasts that we all listen to and how we listen to them. So what were you going to talk about on Thursday? Well,
it wasn't necessarily on Thursday, but I was going to jump into the kind of the news wrap up. One of the things that happened, some guy, I forget his name, he became the head of the resource department or something. I don't know, something. But he reversed Obama's lead ban. So that was good. That was good news.
Secretary of the Interior?
Sure.
Ryan Zinke?
You can tell I really prepare for that kind of stuff. I just know what happened. And then the other...
Virginia. I'm going to scroll ahead and see. I think we have it in there. But go ahead, Smiggy.
I was just going to say, I was just going to reiterate the whole Every Second Matters happened, and we set up the states. I know we mentioned it earlier, but especially with New York coming, if you're in New York, add to that thing, because that will be an easy way going forward when we go to talk about the states. We can jump over to Every Second Matters and just click on that state, and hopefully people have added stuff. So just giving a little more homework for you guys out there. I'm trying to think. I don't know that anything other news stuff happened during the week, at least gun related.
This week? Well, this happened.
William Militia. It's necessary to a free state. Beats the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed.
Rachel's trying to deny that happened earlier this week?
That did happen earlier this week. I'm a bit embarrassed because I messed up there in the middle, so I'm going to have to do it again. The fact that I made that up 30 seconds before I did it, that's why it's not necessarily the best. So you guys got to see some behind the scenes of the recording industry.
Or that raw energy is why it's the best.
It could be. But I still have that raw energy. I'm still very passionate about the Second Amendment.
well, regular militia. It's necessary to a precinct. Leads the right of the people. To keep and bear arms. Shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed.
Oh, sounds pretty good. So there's the link. That's all queued up. Anybody wants to play anything?
Oh, thanks. And if anyone knows of, good guitarists or something, I would love to jam with
Oh,
someone.
I thought that would go great with a jazz flute.
Let's do it. Let's rock it on, man. I honestly do not play drums as much as I'd like to. So, and I think there's actually a big need. I don't know need, but there's a hole in the music industry for like pro gun songs and stuff. I wouldn't mind writing a few songs. That'd be cool.
Why not? Do it. All right. Well, with that, I think we have pretty much wrapped up our year's worth of podcasts. I guess we'll keep doing it. So we'll be back here on Monday with another show, number 261. And Bob will be back in Tucson by then, I think. So we might even see a Canadian on our show again. Maybe. I don't know if Z's back to act like Bob at the end, or if somebody wants to do it.
Oh, I can do it. Let me switch over here. What's the quote? Click on the thing. All right, so this quote will end as we always do.
Hold on, I forgot. On channels tonight, we got Edge coming up sometime. Edge of the night, or Edge of the week. We'll be doing his show. Tomorrow, I think, does Matt do it? I don't think he does his Saturday show anymore, so it might not be anything tomorrow. So if you're...
I think Yankee does one on Saturdays.
No, he moved his to Sundays too, I think.
Oh.
So Matt and Yankee will both do their like solo shows on Sundays. But if you're thinking about creating a show, if you see what people are doing out there and think it might be interesting to try it out, it is. It's fun and it's easy and it's basically free. So if you want to start one, Saturdays are pretty much open over at Gun Channels at least. Now, if it's if you're listening to a podcast that's out there, if you know of somebody that records on a Saturday or a Friday, any day really, let people at Gun Channels know. Let the person know that Gun Channels is a platform that they can post their stuff free of charge and help get the word out about it. Create use some of the audience over there, use the chat rooms and stuff. But if it's something that they don't have time for or don't really care, consider posting it over there for people to hear. Yoder, Texas is a good example of that. He kept posting Come and Talk It, this show out of Texas, and that's a great show. So I don't think the host of the show has time or interest to post it on Gun Channels to, as part of the show prep. But Yoder does a pretty consistent job of posting it up there. So I listen to it almost every Sunday because of that. So you can do that anytime you'd like to help get the word out about something that you're aware of that's out there. And like I say, I really would like to encourage anybody that's interested or thinking about doing something live or just joining some of the live stuff. There's usually a live chat going on Saturdays. But if you'd like to do a formatted show or even an open-ended show, consider Saturdays as a time slot. There's usually quite a few people that have that time off and are in there chatting, and probably get not just audience but people to help participate in joining in on the show as well.
Yep, and then also just kind of go back, you said, if you're thinking of doing one, just talk to the people over at Gun Channels. A lot of us know how to start one up. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't even know how to start one of these things or whatever. We can walk you through it. We can help you. And, we can show you how to set up a channel and how to post the video and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of helpful people over there. So if you want to do something, do it. But if that's it, I guess I'll go ahead and do the quote here. And this is from Winston Churchill. A lie gets halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to get its pants on. So thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for making it a great year. Hope for many, many more. And I don't know. Y'all have a good one.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.
It's 11:59.
The guys and gals of Gun...
it's going to happen at some point, Jared.
So you think after a year we'd have our stuff together?
Well, flash off. That's necessary to a free state. Beat the ride of